Good morning, Bitcoin, and welcome to a very special live edition of the World Crypto Network. It's Saturday, July 8th, 2017, and we've been talking for what seems like 2, maybe 3 hours, and we've discussed everything we needed to discuss. And just to run down some headlines here before I go through the crew and get some opinions from them. Number one, we're going to be turning off ads on this network. We do need to monetize, but we are going to turn off ads. Number two, we're going to be focusing more on donations and ways to get more monetization, which is more direct than advertising. It's up to you to support this model. If you don't support this model, we're going to look at other models, maybe paywalls, maybe pro tip. We have a variety of other ideas that we're going to look into. Number three, we're going to be working on new shows, and that we need your help to make new shows. You don't have to be on the air. If you want to write a couple paragraphs summarizing articles every day, if you want to help us find news stories, things like that. And if you want to be on the air, that's great too. So that's number three, more shows. And number four, the first show we're going to announce is that we're going to be moving the Today in Bitcoin show from the Mad Bitcoins channel to the World Crypto Network. And the goal of moving it is to expand the show. It's supposed to be like a little news show, and our goal is to have correspondents doing like 3 to 5 minute pieces, like a news piece, an opinion piece, maybe a charting piece, maybe a calendar piece, what's coming up next week in Bitcoin. We're going to add these things to the show and try to improve the show, and our goal with that show is to do it every day, maybe almost every day, maybe even twice a day, but we're going to try to build up to that and work as a group to do that. So if you'd like to help us on that, hit us up on Twitter @MadBitcoin. Send me your email, maybe in a DM, and I'll add you to the World Crypto Network Slack, and we'll see where you can fit into that. Let's just go down the lines. Ideas and thoughts on the meeting. I'm going to go to Blake and Theo and then Janine, and then we're going to go to Chris for a closing. So just Blake, how'd the meeting go?
It was a long, torturous process, mostly because of my moral grandstanding. I did a lot of grandstanding and filibustering. Everybody at the World Crypto Network now knows how much more moral I am than they are. So that was, productive for me, but it did take up a lot of time. So no, I think that the ability for us to collaborate on more shows and to continue to try to be a platform that brings truth in decentralization and journalism and journalistic integrity, and then also trying to be able to groom new people up through the network that reason from first principles and engage in academic leveling and steel manning and things like that. I think that direction for the network is very, very appropriate and very, very desired and very, very needed. Integrity and morals are kind of long-term, long investments, and with a lot of the ephemeral kind of clickbait stuff nowadays, I think that a more long-term value proposition is important in terms of a network. So we're going to aim for that, and hopefully we can knock it out of the park.
All right, Janine, your thoughts on what we discussed?
So my main thought was I think we all agreed that we need to have a lot more shorter content, because even though I think a lot of people appreciate the really long shows where everyone has an opportunity to present nuanced opinions, some of you might not have that time to take out of your day to watch those videos, even if it's once a week or several times a week. So we are thinking about making shorter shows, and also we want to do more educational content, because even though it's very catchy to do the breaking news stuff where there's controversy and all that, I know that based on reading comments on videos that there's a large segment of you that you want help, like setting up stuff related to Bitcoin, or maybe just encryption tools in general to be more secure. So we're going to look into maybe getting people that can do educational content. I was thinking about doing educational stuff. It's just taken a bit of time for me to get that all together, because I have to gather all the resources. But yeah.
And this is also.
Oh, and we're also thinking about merchandise. If anyone would be interested, in WCN merchandise, like T-shirts or whatever, let us know, because we'd be willing to do that also as a source of funding.
We also talked about maybe signing merchandise. I don't know why you'd want our signature, but we'd sign stuff for you. And talked about telethons. We talked about like a PBS style donation telethon. And like Janine was mentioning on the educational stuff, maybe you're a whiz with manuals, but you don't want to come on the show. You could kind of write several paragraphs of educational stuff that then someone else could read, and you could help make the show that way. And of course, we would credit you as a writer, as a contributor to the show. You'd be a part of it. But those are some of the ideas discussed. Theo, what are your thoughts on what we discussed?
Do you like World Crypto Network? Would you like to contribute, but you just can't picture yourself being on air, grandstanding moral and other grounds for hours upon hours with, you know, the superstars of the Bitcoin world? No problem. Just join our Slack channel and you can contribute in many other ways. We need people there to help. I want to give a big shout out to Sam Biohazard that's been helping us for what seems years now, updating the SoundCloud, tweeting it out, helping people that are new to the Slack, helping people in general. We need a lot of people like that. World Crypto Network is not just the people on air. It's also other stuff behind the scenes. Mostly the hosts and the people on the show do a lot of stuff behind the scenes too, and you can be part of the World Crypto Network not only by being a so-called content producer and talking head or whatever you want to call it. You can also be on Slack. I really like the telethon idea. That will be a lot of fun whenever we do it. And so, yeah, of course, you heard we'd agreed to turn off the ads, and we will be asking for donations. We'll be putting our begging and pleading with you. No, I'm just joking. We'll be doing it. We'll be reminding you kindly that the ads are off. In order to keep this going, we need to have donations. I think everyone gets that. And maybe we'll do some cool event like a telethon. And yeah, wouldn't you like a signed t-shirt that says Mad Bitcoins on it? Or maybe one of those hats of his, or whatever else, you know? Or you can get a Tone autographed 8x10 with his machetes. I don't know, whatever you guys want out there. But if you're willing to donate and help the network with that, then that is fine. That's great. And yeah, I hope to see you in Slack, interact with you. Maybe you can join a show. Maybe you are a content creator. We'd like to talk to you too. I think those are some of the main topics also that were already said. We just wanted to clear up what is the stance on ads. And don't worry, everyone. Is still raw. It's still about telling the truth, and that's it. We all agreed that's what it's about, and that's what it's going to stay as. And if we're not telling the truth and we're bullshitting, then I'm sure you'll tell us.
And yeah, Theo's right. We have lots of jobs that aren't on the air, people that use Photoshop that could make us thumbnails, people that use editing software could make us clip shows of the longer shows. Even if you don't edit, you could just timestamp some of the longer shows. And there's a lot of ideas for clip shows where a host could host the shows, but it's actually difficult to go through and get a bunch of really good timestamps, especially when you're watching your own content. You feel kind of silly. But if we had someone that gave us a bunch of timestamps and a bunch of summary paragraphs, and we could push that out as a show, that would help people who can't watch the long shows still get the information. And just wanted to round up and say that we also had Gabriel D. Vine, Tone Vase, and Jeffrey Jones, the Vortex. We're also at this meeting. We tried to invite everyone that we can. We're focusing on people, of course, that are more active recently, that have been making content. We have a lot of good friends in the past. We'd like to bring them back on the network, but we haven't heard from them in a while. And we're going to go to Chris Ellis for a roundup and a closing and to tell us about what's been going on with Pro Tip. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, guys. So, yeah, a bit of background. So this show comes off the back of last week's show when we celebrated our 1 millionth view. And the fact that I'd sort of noticed that the ad's been turned back on, and I was like, hey, Tom, man, what's up? You know, and he's like, well, man, you know, got to pay the rent. And I was like, listen, we've got to find another way. So I said, look, why don't we go back to calling the old school town meetings, and let's like try and have everything out into the open. And Tom was like, okay, well, let's have a closed meeting first. Let's make sure that we can get consensus and everything. So we did a bit of a backroom Barry. We got a bit of a WCN 2X going on. And we ended up reaching consensus. A few people got beaten up. They had to kind of leave. But we ended up getting there.
I'm not happy, though, because everybody missed my virtue signaling.
Right. Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, the virtue signaling was rife. I want to talk about, you know, the cost of virtue. And as Matt Bitcoin said back on the 25th of May, you know, turning down a job because of ethics is really hard. But then right after he said that, you know, someone sent him a whole Bitcoin, right? And that's called The Art of Asking. You know, there's a really good book out there. You should look it up, called The Art of Asking, and we talked about it before. And we did used to host, you know, shows called town hall meetings, where we used to have these, you know, big long discussions, and you know, in the open about how, you know, we should run these things. And you know, this network has been about transparency. NSA cam is one of my, you know, kind of stalwarts, where I like, you know, film myself 24/7, you know, building the full node so that you could see how transparent, you know, all kind of, you know, all the software was. You know, 3,500 views for an 8-hour-long video, and people say long form content is dead. So really, what it was about was about the truth. You know, that's what I think this network brings. And suddenly it's gone back to the other camera. Excuse me one sec, having camera problems on my back.
Just don't do a screen share where you can show
Okay,
the conversation where I was bashing our listeners.
Right. So really what it's about is it's about the fact that it's, you know, talking about growth hacking. And recently, you know, in the Slack channel, something you guys maybe don't see is there's been a lot of talk about getting new shows on air, growth hacking, which means getting the views up, getting the subscriptions, getting the likes. But why? Rarely does anybody ask, like, what is this for? And one of the things that differentiates the World Crypto Network from all the other media outlets in the blockchain space, distributed ledger, hashtag, is that we just tell it how it is. Like, some of us may have jobs. I work at Bitfinex, for example, and Tom's had jobs here and there. But we still just say what the fuck we want. Like, we still just tell it how it is. And that's how it's been since inception. And so, you know, Vortex and I were just saying it's about the truth, right? It's about telling truth to power. My vision for the World Crypto Network since the beginning was that the big institutions and the VCs and the CEOs, they should fear us, right? But the little guy, the user, the customer, they should hang on our every word. They should be like listening to everything we say. They should want to hear what we have to say. And that's kind of how I see it. And I don't want it to become a company. I don't want there for there ever to be the notion that the World Crypto Network could ever be bought out, for there to ever be a price tag on it. And so I don't want it to become like, you know, Let's Talk Bitcoin or any of those kind of media outlets. I want it to be community driven. And this is just my vision. I'm not dictating this unilaterally. But that's sort of how I see it, and think decisions should be made in the open and not unilaterally. So for the time being, the ads are being turned off, and a group of us may contribute to Tom so that he's able to turn off those ads and to be able to pay for the network, you know, in other ways, because he's putting in a lot of time. He's putting more time than anybody else into running the network, writing the scripts and putting all that work in. So we don't believe in all that advertising stuff. And yeah, and in terms of pro tip, well, with SegWit coming up, with the help of SegWit2x, Sausage2x, we may have a new opportunity with pro tip, which is the tipping app that we funded thanks to your help a few years ago, with the Lightning Network and payment channels and so forth. So there may be something to look forward to there in the next few months, but that is to be confirmed. So kind of watch this space.
And yeah, I just wanted to second what Chris said. It really is about the community. So it's about you. If you like these shows, if you want to be a part of these shows, if you want to be a contributor on the air, off the air, as a writer, photoshopping, we even have, it's not the most exciting job in the world, but a scheduler would be great. Someone to do a calendar for us. Getting guests on shows is really difficult. Actually interviewing them, I find it to be not that difficult. But it's the scheduling that weighs me down. But thanks so much. We had about 150 viewers watching our little recap here of the notes. Like we said, we're going to try to do more shows. If you want to get involved, a message at Mad Bitcoins, DM me your email. I'll add you to the Slack. It's not the most elegant thing in the world, but it's what we have. You're all welcome. It's about you. It's about the community, the people that watch these shows. And thank you so much for your support. Give us a thumbs up. The reason we say this now is that Google actually shows your video to more people when you get thumbs up. So it's kind of like saying, this is a good video, maybe not the best video in the world, but if you just thumbs up all the videos that are good, you're telling YouTube to share those with other people. So it's we need to be giving out more thumbs up. They're free. But we're out of time. Until next time, Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.